Hello, I am Maggie Parke. I am originally from Lancaster, Pennsylvania. I'm the daughter of a guidance counselor. I'm the youngest of three kids, so lived through that whole finding your college process with a guidance counselor mom, and now I'm obviously on the other side of it. So I moved to the UK in 2005, but I want to introduce myself to you because I'm the US contact for study in Wales. So I'm going to lead you through this web series where we're going to introduce the Welsh universities and talk about different topics that come up for us in our work, and hopefully will make your life a little bit easier when navigating this for a prospective student. So the point of this series is to give you an overview of the 8 Welsh universities. So for each of these episodes, you'll see the US rep who you can reach out to have that one-to-one relationship and really help that student answer any questions and to make sure that application is as strong as possible at the point of submission. An academic department, so we can highlight the different things that are on offer at the universities in Wales, and a frequently asked question, because that's definitely what we spend most of our time doing. You know, how do I do this? How do I pay for this? How does healthcare work? What's student life like? What are the visa processes? Things like that. So all of them are manageable, and we'll try to break them down in these sessions.
Hi, I'm Maggie Parke from Study in Wales. I'm American myself, but I've lived in Wales for 15 years now. I read a series of books when I was about 8 years old that took place in Wales. It was The Dark is Rising sequence by Susan Cooper. I always get asked that. And I was just obsessed. So when I was 20, I came here as a study abroad student, loved it, came back for a master's studying King Arthur, stayed on for a PhD studying Harry Potter. I can make it sound much more academic. I was looking at cultural adaptations and fan management, so creative industries type stuff, and living here in this beautiful location. I came to Wales for location. This is my backyard. There's the ocean there and the mountains there. Most of our Welsh campuses are within a few minutes of a national park. So we have outstanding areas of national beauty all over Wales, and we're really lucky to be able to just pop out our door and go explore this. But what I really love is that this gets to be home. This is a small, safe location, really affordable, really beautiful, really vibrant, tight communities, and very safe. Academics in the UK are shorter than in the US. It's 3 years for a bachelor's degree, 1 year for a master's, and 3 years for a PhD. Pretty much every degree transfers back equally. The only ones you need to be careful about are certification courses. So like if you were a teacher in New York and you wanted to move to Virginia, you'd have to get recertified for that state. So there's different requirements for things like teaching, nursing, law, but check with your university on that. For the rest of them though, all those degrees are completely equal. The difference and why it's shorter is because we don't do gen eds. So if you're studying ocean sciences, that's all you're going to study. There's no French requirement, there's no gym requirement. You can take those other courses for your own personal interest. A lot of universities will offer free language courses, or you can usually sit in on courses just because they interest you, because professors don't mind, but your degree is your degree. It's just your subject area. So because of that, you do have to know what you want to study when you apply, but it can be quite general. If you know you're interested in psychology, you don't need to know what you want to do yet in psychology. You just need to know that you want to study psychology. So the first year of every course is really general. The second year you focus a little bit more, and the third year you focus even more, and you get to do an independent research project at most universities on that subject. So you get some real personal work experience, follow your own passions, and the freedom to explore your academic interests however you please.
Okay, I'm going to move inside for this last bit. So cost is not the reason I came to the UK. I came for location, but it's definitely the reason I stayed in the UK. The schools I was looking at in the US were 48,000 a year, 52,000 a year, and the one where I ended up was, I think, 11,000 a year when I was studying there. Now it's about 14. This is US dollars. And after scholarships, I got one for my department and one from the international office. So I was paying 7,000 US dollars per year for my PhD. And for that, we're a FAFSA school. So most of the institutions in Wales are on FAFSA, so you can fill out the paperwork for that. And there's somebody on campus that will help you with that entire process. So if it's new to your student, it's not new to the international office. So they can walk you through that. So yes, I did end up taking out loans to study over here, but I think I say it a few times during this series. So yeah, I was in debt at the end of my PhD, but it paled in comparison to what I could have been in debt. I was in debt probably about $60,000, I think, and that was about how much 1 year would have cost me in the US, and that was at the end of a PhD. Other key things to know with cost is that you are able to work part-time. You can work up to 20 hours a week on your student visa and 40 hours a week during holiday times. My first year I was working at a movie theater, and then I got a job in the international office with the university. So lots of options available in terms of making this an affordable option, but also living abroad, getting experience.
I'm here today with a counselor and a consultant that have come over to Wales for our counselor fly-in tour, which means you come over to Wales and we take you around to the Welsh universities, meet some academic staff, some students, tour the campuses. So Sharon and Daphne are my guru go-tos.
Hi, and again, I'm Sharon Harris. I am in New Hampshire. I work with students across the globe, and the opportunity to visit Wales and universities in Wales or unis in Wales is a great opportunity, and to see and experience the history and the perspective that the institutions there can give our students was just a fantastic opportunity. So thank you very much, Maggie, for giving me the opportunity to be here and to share that.
So my name is Daphne Adler, and I am a public high school counselor in Northern California in the San Francisco Bay Area. And I also do some private college consulting. And in the past several years, I have become very passionate about, for myself, learning as much as I possibly can about international universities so that I can pass on that information to my students and their families. And I absolutely love international ed for students who want a little something unique and an adventure. And you know, there are a lot of practical benefits like graduating earlier and the cost that's so much lower than American school. So all that stuff is true as well. But in terms of like the heart of the experience, a student who really wants to, you know, I feel like we're kind of a broken record, but, you know, going out into the world and taking it all in and seeing how other people live. And in this case, like hearing the Welsh language around you and just living in this world that's on the same planet as California, but really feels like this magical place. And, you know, before coming to Wales, it sounded kind of like, you know, Lord of the Rings, Shire, Narnia, etc. And it's really like that. And so anybody who's interested in experiencing that would love it.
With the 3-year educational experience that you have in the Welsh unis, you actually get an opportunity to, because it's the 3-year program, you get an opportunity to delve into your experience. You focus on the educational opportunities that you want, whether you're choosing to go into engineering, you are living your engineering experience, because that concept of having to take your gen eds kind of goes out the window in many ways, because you're taking your engineering courses, and that's where you focus your learning.
I have to say that myself coming to Wales made me want to go back for another degree. No joke. Like
we did talk about that for a while.
We sure did, and I'm still thinking about it.
Whereas I actually have been online and looking at doing the online programs to see if, oh, can I figure out how to work in taking these courses? And because it is a 1-year program.
Yeah.
So I actually have, since I've been back, I've got the student coming over there this fall. We've looked at, he's going over for exercise, he's going over for sports management.
Yes.
And he's going over, he'll do sports management. He's got some other interest, but we've been able to, it's a 3-year program, look at, okay, he's got some other interest. How does he complement his 3-year program and exercise his other interests so he can still do his 3-year program and pick up his other interests, whether he's doing online courses or he'll be at Cardiff Met. There are courses going over at Cardiff where he can join clubs. And that was part of the conversations he was able to have with the admissions people. So he's still going to be able to be engaged in sustainability and his other interests, even though he's focused on, you know, his sports management. His sustainability, which is his other passion, is still going to be fed in other ways. So it's a win-win in so many ways. And the conversations to be had with parents on the financial opportunities, on the global experience.
So what are some of the conversations that you've had with parents about this opportunity? And what are some of the things that, you know, were really helpful in convincing them basically that this was real and you could do it.
I talk with them about things like qualities that make for a successful experience, like it being independent, being mature, things like that. And when I think that the child is a good fit, I will point out, you know, the student has done X, Y, or Z, and I think that he or she would do absolutely great in Wales, in Europe, wherever, and that helps them to kind of conceptualize something that they hadn't really thought of. So it just sounds really big and scary. And once I start to talk about some of the cool things, they kind of go, oh, yeah, I hadn't really thought of that, but that sounds kind of amazing.
It does. I think what happens is once you get those parents to start buying in and hearing those discussions, you know, and it's the same for me, because once I'll have those discussions with parents, they're like, you've got me bought in. I'm starting to buy it.
You know, living in the halls, you had somebody 24/7 if you were homesick, or you didn't know how that machinery worked in the UK because ATMs are different over here, and you know, just those little things that just trip you up. But you always have at least one person 24/7, and usually, you know, 10 to 15 people that you can call upon if you need them. Yeah, the support network is there while you learn how to be really independent.
Well, it's been good even for the admissions process, because once I provide the information to a family, walk them through, helps them through, you know, here's what the admission process looks like, here's what the school information is. And if you know, I'm telling you this, but let me introduce you to somebody at the school who can give you more detail. Not only someone at the school, but here's someone within the department, here's a student at the school, here's an admissions person, or excuse me, a dean at the school, who takes the time to walk a student through and give them perspective from, you know, this is what the program's actually going to look like once you get over here. And that personal touch has been phenomenal.
What are some things that you would tell other counselors and consultants who are encountering international education for the first time?
It's overwhelming at first, because I mean, there's almost 4,000 colleges in the US alone. And then you look at the whole world, and it's like, whoa, how does one, you know, wrap their head around that? Because we're always learning. So the more I've learned, the more I have realized that it really is very approachable and very possible as a counselor to learn what you need to learn in order to advise parents and students in an informed way. And then, like we were saying earlier, it's such a warm handoff to an actual person at one of the universities, particularly in Wales. This is such a great option for kids that want to get off the train of American university admissions and the rat race of all of that, and you know, just that pressure cooker environment of if they're not perfect, they're not going to get into XYZ elite universities. Just this experience of being in the world and being surrounded by history and culture and other interesting and diverse people, you can have all of that. And that, for me as a counselor, is something so exciting to talk about with students, because I see the smile on their face when I tell them, like, it's actually kind of easier to get in some really, really amazing colleges abroad versus in our own country. And they go, really? Yeah, they want you, you know, and they're working really hard to bring really cool American students over there to have this experience. And you just see like the relief wash over them that, like, yeah, they're going to probably still apply in the States, but also think about Wales, you know, or like other places that interest them. And they're like, this is really cool.
Well, thank you guys so much for this. This has been an enlightening conversation. It's always just really nice to see your faces as well. If we could just end with, you know, what was your favorite thing about Wales, and any closing thoughts you want to leave us with, that would be lovely.
It just felt so wonderful to be there, which sounds kind of like a little fairy tale-ish, but it really just feels that way there. And imagining being there as a student resident for a few years, to me, I think is an experience that would be absolutely life-altering for a student who is a good fit there. And so I really am passionate about helping students understand the experience of what it would be like to go there. And I cannot recommend it more highly.
I hope you found this introductory episode useful. There's going to be more coming out, and each one will follow the same structure of meet your US rep, an academic department, and frequently asked question. we're really responsive. So if you have any questions or other things that you want to ask, please do mention it in the comments, or drop me an email, which is also down here, or go to the website studyingwales.ac.uk, and you'll find ways to reach all of us. The main hope for this is that it makes your life easier. So we're very keen to set up sessions, info chats, whatever, of what is useful for you. So if there is something, give us a shout. But we look forward to speaking to you more. I hope to see you on a future virtual or in-person tour. And in the meantime, stay safe and stay well. Thanks very much.